morning, everyone. Welcome back to the XFL Fan Zone. Folks, can you believe it? We are about, let's see, it's 9, 12, we're 29 hours away from kickoff. And yes, I am sporting the Seattle Dragons home replica jersey today, American-made stuff. You guys need to pick up one. Of course, I'm going old school. The hat here, the old XFL logo. But today's video is we're going to talk about why the XFL is going to succeed this time around. If it does succeed, why will it succeed? And there are quite a few reasons. One, we'll get right into it. The top, Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon has long wanted to be an owner of a football team. There were rumors he tried to buy an NFL team. He tried to buy the CFL. He was around for XFL Part 1, obviously. This is something he wants. This is a real passion of his. This is not... he's 74 years old, and he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder from XFL Part 1, and no doubt he wants this one to succeed very, very much. He has the money. He has the name recognition. He has the power. And he's had a pretty big vision. Vince McMahon did not just wake up one day and say, okay, since Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and The Rock are retired from wrestling, I guess I'll start a football league. Being what this way has gone down, he has spent a lot of years researching and asking around how to do this, and it has shown. The XFL, for the most part, has done everything right. On the scale from 0 to 100, I would say they're about 97%. They've done everything right. No one's perfect, so I'm not going to give a 100% score here. He announced it June 25th of 2018, so we're 763 days into this 164-day journey. I cannot wait for kickoff. I've been looking for this more than the NFL playoffs. I'm looking forward to a spring league. So Vince McMahon has had a vision, and he's got the capital. And the second reason was his very first hire, Oliver Luck. After Vince McMahon made the announcement of bringing the XFL back, and he took his questions, he introduced Oliver Luck as commissioner of the league, and since then, Oliver Luck has been the face of the league. Vince McMahon is learning from all his mistakes in part 1. This is going to be about football and high-quality football, not the wrestling gimmick / football we got in 2001. Oliver Luck has a resume this big. From his days of being a West Virginia quarterback, to him being an NFL quarterback, to his work in the Big East, his work with the Houston Dynamo, his work in the MLS, his work in NFL Europe League, general manager, as I think with the Amsterdam Admirals, if I remember right. He was part of the Big East, I think, for a while. He has a resume this long. He's a very smart guy. He conducts himself very well, conducts himself with class. And Oliver Luck has done just about everything right since McMahon has given the reins. Now, we know Vince McMahon's in the background there. You don't sell the amount of WWE stock and dump the money you dump into the XFL because you have nothing else better to do. He has a vision. And in order to get Oliver Luck on board, he had to convince him that he has a vision. Oliver Luck didn't need the XFL. He had a good position where he was. So to get a guy like Oliver Luck on the XFL, you know that Vince McMahon gave him a lot of say, a lot of power, and a lot of capital to do it. Third, Oliver Luck's first hire and all his hires. Oliver Luck's first hire was Coach Bob Stoops for the Dallas Renegades. I still cannot believe that Bob Stoops is going to be coaching in the XFL. This is a man that took one of the most premier programs in college football, Oklahoma, and turned it into a winner. And this man could have had any job in the pros or college, but chose to come to the XFL because, like Steve Spurrier did in the AAF, he didn't want to be involved in politics. He wanted to have fun, and he wanted to enjoy what he was doing. So when he got Bob Stoops on board, that was the second grenade that said this league was going to be legit. All right, Oliver Luck was the first big time where people said, wow, we got Oliver Luck. That's pretty impressive. But getting Bob Stoops, For Alvarez's first move, it was like, okay, now people had to pay attention. They just couldn't ignore it anymore. And you follow up with people like Winston Moss, a guy who played at my school, Miami. I'm a Hurricane fan. Get him to play in LA, and Winston Moss has the right personality for LA. I always say New York City is a show me city when it comes to sports. LA is a big event city. They're tougher than New York. They're a big event city. And Winston Moss has got the personality, the right personality to bring out the LA fans. Now, they're still going to play good football, but he's got that LA swagger, the Miami swagger for LA. Good move. Kevin Gilbride, my offensive coordinator with the Giants, who got us 2 Super Bowl rings. He's coaching the New York Guardians. June Jones, who did a good job in Hawaii, got them to the Sugar Bowl against the Georgia Bulldogs in that almost undefeated season of 12-1. He's be coaching the run and shoot in Houston. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jim Zorn, legendary Seattle Seahawks quarterback, in the Ring of Honor at Central League Field. He is coaching the Seattle Dragons. Pep Hamilton, who's done a lot of work in both college and pros. His last gig was with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan. Done some good work with quarterbacks. He's in D.C. Mark Trestman, a 3-time Grey Cup winner, and gave the Chicago Bears a prolific offense before he was fired. So we have some good coaches in this league. I'm trying to think, who else do we have? We have Zorn, Moss, Stoops, June Jones. That's it. Hamilton, Gilbert, Pressman, and Jonathan Hayes. John Hayes been spent over a dozen years with Marvin Lewis in Cincinnati. So we have some top-notch, very experienced coaches here. Reason number 4, the way they drafted players. I thought it was the smart thing to do. Phase drafting. So this way everyone has a good set of receivers, quarterbacks, running backs, offensive linemen. One team didn't have more than the other on a certain area. They wanted parity. They wanted competitive football. This was the way to do it. My dream for this league is that even though I would love to see my Guardians go 10-0 and win and sweep the playoffs, I think the best thing for the league is for every team after week 8 to be 4-4 and all 8 teams in the playoff hunt. Another reason, the TV contract. This was huge. When you have name recognition and connections like Vince McMahon, you get ESPN, ESPN2, Fox Sports, Fox Sports 1, and the ABC network to cover your games. All 4 games every weekend are going to be nationally televised games. This is phenomenal. For these players looking for a second chance in the NFL, they're going to do what NFL players don't get. A nationally televised game every game. Just think about that. When you're lacking reps in game film, there's no better way to get game film than this. So a lot of players are going to be on board. Another reason, sponsorships. Yesterday, Gatorade and Anheuser-Busch jumped on as sponsors for the XFL. Those are 2 huge sponsors. And the sponsors are coming in gradually, locally for all the teams, and also for the XFL. The games are also going to be televised also in Canada on the TSN network, which is basically the Canadian ESPN, owned by the same company, the sports network. Games are being streamed, I think, in over 200 countries around the world. So there's going to be plenty of exposure for this league. The only thing I wish they have more, I wish they have more radio contracts. Seattle has one with 7:10 a.m. ESPN. Houston has an ESPN radio contract locally. And 5 days ago, we learned that the DC Defenders are going to have their own radio contract of 106.7, their sports radio station. And I think I saw something about St. Louis. I can't confirm that, but that's 3 of the 8 teams. I would wish that all 8 teams would have a radio contract. I also wish they would put them on Sirius XM radio. But hey, it can still happen. Another reason, I don't have it here, but the app. The XFL has a beautiful app. I thought the one the AAF had last year was awesome. This one is just a lot better. They spend a lot of time in this app. So You can do everything you can on the website, even I think access your tickets here. So good job by the XFL on this. This has been some top-notch stuff. Um, Another reason these players are in shape, ready to go. If you remember last year, 2001 XFL Part 1 took off. They had 1 month to do everything, and it showed. There were a lot of, I remember being there, look at some of the Guardians, the Hitman players, and a lot of these guys were just not in shape. A lot of these guys are just taking off the street and threw on some football stuff, and you could tell the play was awful. It was. I mean, as much as I watched all 43 games, the play was just awful. Not this time around. These guys have all passed physicals, and a lot of big name players, like I'll give you an example, the Cordell twins from Alabama were both drafted by the Guardians. They were cut. They failed their physicals. Two, if you don't pass a background check, you get the boot. So we get some high quality players. They've had a full mini camp for a month. Then they've had about 3 weeks of training camp and scrimmages all together down in Houston to keep the cost down because of work with comps laws. But the Houston has the facilities to do this. And now they've had 2 weeks on top of that to prepare for their first game on top of the scrimmages they had already. So these guys are going to be ready. What else can we talk about here? We got the players, we got the coaches, we got the commissioner, we got the owner, we got the TV contract, we have the sponsors, we have worldwide TV contracts, as well as in Canada and Mexico. So we are looking good everywhere. We have some good venues. I like a lot of the venues. I think Audi Field has potentially to be the best atmosphere. The metro area of DC is it's about 6 million people, if you include Maryland, Virginia, and DC itself, and an 18,000 seat stadium. Now you get that many people to fill up an 18,000 seat stadium, and that could be a sea of red. That could be a fun atmosphere to look at from TV aspect, kind of like with the way the Kansas City Chiefs had their sea of red, or in the heyday the Nebraska Cornhuskers. That has the potential to be a good place. LA is not playing a big stadium. They're playing also in they used to be called Old StubHub Stadium. I forget what they call it now. It's got this name this long, but they're in a 25,000 seat soccer stadium. LA's been a tough football town. Hopefully they can fill that stadium, but if they do, it'll look good for television. That's why I'm a big fan of these small stadiums. Globe Life Park is not being torn down, thank God, because that was a beautiful ballpark. If you've been there for the Rangers, I went there years ago to see Texas and the New York Yankees. That's a beautiful ballpark. I know it's too hot for baseball, then why they built the dome, but it's not going to waste. That is one of 2 stadiums where the XFL is the sole proprietor of that stadium. That's big. So Globe Life Park has been converted to a football stadium. It looks nice. Seating may not be the best because it is a converted baseball stadium, but being that most of the seats are being sold on the lower bowl, it should be pretty good. Across the state in Texas, you have TDECU Stadium, a college stadium on the Houston campus. That's only a 40,000 seat stadium. I like that venue very much also. Then you have the Dome at American Center in St. Louis, the only dome stadium. And if you remember how loud the Alamo Dome got for the Commanders, that should be an exciting atmosphere. They have just expanded the ticket gap to 27,500 because the demand is that good. Right behind them, Seattle, again, a big stadium, but that's a hell of a football town. You've ever been out there. They love their Seahawks. They love their Huskies. It's a great sports town also. They're right behind St. Louis for ticket sales. So even though it's a big stadium, that could be a good atmosphere also. I just heard Houston's also now selling tickets into the second tier bowl or the upper bowl. So ticket sales are good. They're solid right now. So that's another reason why a lot of season tickets, a lot of these games are going to have a good first showing. Raymond J. Stadium. The Buccaneers have not done well attendance-wise, but the Tampa Bay Bandits of the old USFL did good. We'll see how that one goes. That should be interesting. The one I'm concerned about is my hometown here in New York, MetLife Stadium. That is a big stadium, 82,000 seat stadium. Ticket sales have been good. I wouldn't say they've been great, but it looks like the first game is going to do real well for attendance. I hope it follows. New York City is a show-me city. This is a city with now a dozen professional sports teams. So when you have that many sports teams, you got to put out a winner. If you put out a winner, the people in New York show up. If you don't, they're not. But the New Jersey Generals, historically, did pretty well in attendance in Giant Stadium. The New York, New Jersey Knights did pretty good also in attendance. They were second, I think, in the league in attendance, if I remember right. No, third, behind the two European teams. The New York Hitmen, the first time around, were second in the league in attendance, only behind San Francisco. So spring football has done well, but if the New York fans are going to come out in that big stadium, they need to win or be in contention to be in a playoff spot, and the fans will come out. That's just the way New York is. And you can say the same thing for almost D.C. also, but at least they have a small stadium. So those are the reasons why the XFL has a chance this time around. I like our chances, and I hate to say this, but if it doesn't work out this time, this might have been our last chance at a spring football league. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but it's just the way things are so expensive, and you need a lot of people to make this thing run right. Let's hope this league works out. I am going to be watching all 43 games, whether it's on the TV, on the DVR, or if I'll be going to a few games. I'm going to miss, unfortunately, the New York home opener because my daughter's gymnastics meet. But I'm going to go next week down to DC to see the Guardians and the Defenders. I should be there for the other 4 games as well. So there's a lot to look forward to in this league. Tomorrow we begin the transition to where Alva Luck is no longer the face of the league, and now the coaches and players take off, and that's what we want. And if this league is going to survive, they need quality football, they need competitive football, and 3, just as important, the quarterback play has to be real good. Al Davis told the USFL years ago, you would have a chance to succeed in this football environment if you have good quarterback play. Let's face it, the quarterback is the leader of the team. He handles the ball every day, almost every down on offense. You need good quarterbacking. And being that these guys have had full mini camp, full train camp, and 2 full weeks to prepare, we have a good chance to see some good quarterback play. A lot of quarterbacks I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Cardell Jones. I'm looking forward to Josh Johnson. I heard he's getting a decision whether he's going to play or not, but this could be good. I mean, he's been a career backup, and he was the first pick of the AA draft last year. My guy, Kevin McGloin, he's got a lot of experience also. Jordan Tormu of St. Louis, he's the only true rookie starting for the XFL. I'm hoping he could be the face of that franchise for a few years and be one of the good faces of the league because he's only 21, 22. We're going to need some familiar faces in the league so people could come see. Jordan Tormu, being only 22 years old, he could be one of those faces of the league. Despite him being a rookie, I'm hoping he could be the franchise quarterback for St. Louis. Same thing with Cardell Jones in D.C. He's a young buck. I'm hoping he can do well. Brandon Silvers, another guy in Seattle. I enjoyed him very much. Watch him play with Memphis. And let's see, Aaron Murray. You know, we have it. We have the talent. It's just, tomorrow we start finding who are the best prepared teams because they've had the full training camp. So I don't know if you can think of anything else. Let us know in the comments on the YouTube video here. I cannot wait. Like I said, 29 hours away. 29 hours. I cannot wait. All right, folks. We'll talk to you later. Tomorrow I am going to try to do a pregame show. I'm going to do a half-hour pregame show from 1:30 to 2 o'clock up to the start of the game. So if you have watch parties and you want to tune me in, feel free to. I'm hoping to do it. I also hear that the XFL is going to be doing their own pregame show on the social media networks with Jonathan Coultman, who used to be a WWE personality, but he's been SportsCenter now for about 6-7 years. And we have there's another woman there, weather girl turned sports girl. We'll see how that goes. I haven't seen much of that. I have to look more, but hey, we'll talk to you tomorrow on hopefully will be my pregame show up until everything. And by the way, we're having good weather tomorrow in all 4 locations this weekend, so that's a plus. So we'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Oh yeah, folks, it just came across my mind also. One of the other reasons why it's going to be successful, because you look at the broadcast teams ESPN and Fox has put out, they're pretty top notch. Kurt Menefee and Joel Klatt will be calling the games for Fox. You're going to have Pat McAfee run around the sidelines with Diane Rossini, who's going to be the reporter. That should be interesting. Of course, my guy, Steve Levy, if you're a New Yorker, you know Steve Levy because he started out here with WFAN Radio, the sports network station, the original one. And he's a great football play-by-play guy for college. He's been a great hockey guy when he was at ESPN, when he used to do hockey. That's another reason why this league's going, because these networks are going all out. And finally, most importantly, us, social media, people like me, my boy Brett Tierce, over 100% XFL, John and Stacy Turner out of Football World, Arlington Lane and Jason Spurgeon over in St. Louis live show, and you got plenty of people on social media. XFL News Hub, XFL Newsroom, XFL Chalk Talk. There are just dozens upon dozens of people here trying to make this league work. The Facebook pages, the Twitter pages, all the commentary. We didn't have this back in 2001. The internet was still growing, and social media was not around yet. Well, it's around now, and people like us are going to promote the league. And it gives people like me and you a say in what we want and how we want it too. So that's pretty much it. This video's gone long enough. It's probably my longest video ever outside the Guardian events. But we'll talk to you, everyone. See you tomorrow.